All right, guys, I have got this GoPro strapped to my head right now, so I'm hoping you're being able to see everything I am. I think I need to adjust it just a hair. You can see down at my phone there. That's kind of how I'm telling what your view is. Yeah, we'll try it right there. Okay, here we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. This is that bumper for that Kia right there, and I'm going to be sanding it with 500 grit. This is dry sandpaper, sanding it with 500 grit. And remember how we fold this, fold it like a business letter. That way I end up with three sides, this side, and that side. And you flip it in and out. And then we got a red scuff pad that's going to help me get into the edges. So I'm getting ready to get started sanding on it. All right, here we go. Now, this is a aftermarket bumper. It's CAPA certified. Remember, guys, when I told you about being CAPA certified? Matter of fact, let's see if I find the sticker on here. See where it says CAPA right there? Most of the time it has a yellow one, but this one's got it written like that. This thing has waterborne low VOC primer on it. And one of the pluses, not only are these things cheaper than the OEM, this primer sands great. I know I've got a few of you in here that sand a lot of bumpers for me, and you guys are great at them. And see, I mean, it just powders. It works so nice. Now, I'm going to go around, and with this sandpaper, I'm getting in all these nooks and crannies as best as I can. Like this, but I'm going to come back with that Scotch-Brite pad, that red Scotch-Brite, and I'm going to get all in there with that. But what I'm going to do is, since this would be a totally boring video if you just sat here and watched me sand all this, but you can see none of this is difficult. It just takes time. And matter of fact, I'm going to look at the clock here in a minute, and I'm going to keep track of how long it actually takes me to sand this whole thing, okay? So I'll get back to you in just a minute. All right, guys. Right now, I have got 15 minutes tied up into sanding this bumper, and it's all sanded. Now, when I say sanded, this is sandpaper. And I told you about how we folded it. And as you can see, I didn't even get to this third piece, so that sandpaper is still good. One thing that's important to remember when you're doing bumpers is not to forget these end pieces, because that's where all the stones from the tire are hitting at. And you got to get all the nooks and crannies as best as possible. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it with this red scuff pad. And the red signifies this is the coarse scuff pad. It's not that coarse, but I mean, obviously you can paint over it. It probably ends up being about a 500 grit. Some people say it's coarser than that, but we're gonna go red. And what this does is it lets me get down into these little areas like this. If you can see that, it helps me get down in there real good. And again, I'm gonna shut this camera off for a minute and finish scuffing it. All right, guys, it is all sanded and scuffed. Now, if you take a look at this, this is the tow hook, and it's got the cover on it, which doesn't come with a new bumper. This one is right there. So I've got to pop it out, and I got to sand it too so that they get painted at the same time. Because you can see like where it's been on the front of the car. You see how it's got like the bugs and all. That'll take care of that. What this hole is, guys, some of you probably know, some of you don't, is you pop that out and it gives you access to that hole right there, which is where you screw a tow hook in. If you were to break down or they were to put this on a tow truck or rollback, that's where they pull. So that's what that hole is for. Let me show you guys another important spot to make sure you scuff is this area right in here, because that's where this thing clips into. Matter of fact, let me get it. Remember this piece, guys? What this does is, let's see which one's which. Yeah, what this is this thing clips into, let me get this thing upside down, or, oh, I got it backwards. Okay, what happens is this thing snaps into this. I'm not gonna snap it in there now, but you see that's what holds it. So it'll knock the paint off if that's not scuffed when you slide it on there. So less than 20 minutes, this whole bumper was sanded. So when don't get all discouraged. And what I do is I work one spot at a time. Like the whole time, I don't go here, there, and everywhere. I just work my way on around until I get the whole thing sanded. So now I'm gonna blow this thing off and then wipe it down.